What's up? What's up? What is up? I am your host, King Smith, and we are live on a Wednesday night with Chats with Dads. It has been a minute, but I haven't gone anywhere. I have a guy that's coming on tonight who I've known since 2013. I've gotten to know him extremely well, and he is also the first sponsor that I have of my chats with dad. So let's give a shout out to that. Yeah, your boy's coming up in the game with sponsors and things of the like. So, look, if you would like to be a sponsor of the show, reach out to me at the actual Kingsmith at gmail.com. Also, if you are a father and you would like to come on to my show, Chats with Dads, and talk about men topics and life as a dad, there is a link in the description for Calendly. Click on it, find an open Wednesday, sign up, and let's chat. All right. So with all of the intros out the way, let's bring on my homeboy Mike Allison, and we're gonna take about an hour. Have a conversation, just like we're on the back porch, uh, relax. Talking about things that men talk about. And I have something that's in this cup, and I'm not going to disclose what it is, but Mike got it to me as a gift this past weekend. So thank you, Mike. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Thank you for taking the time to join my Chats with Dads call, man. I appreciate that, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. So, but before we get started, shout out to you for being my first sponsor of the show, man. That's real big. I like to give you the opportunity to get the sponsorship out the way. Tell me about the business real quick, and then we'll get started, brother.
Absolutely, man. Just want to salute you, man, and support you, man. I'm proud of what you're doing with your company. I saw where you started from with this business, and I said I want to give my guy a sponsorship and help him promote his business and get him out there, man. So I really appreciate the opportunity, but I wanted to give back and support you as well. In regards to my business, man, groomed and tailored. The thought came a long time ago, man. You met Courtney, so when we was getting married, I saw all the bridesmaid getting all these services and stuff, man. And then I was running around town getting a haircut, getting a manicure, getting a pedicure, trying to get my suit. And I was like, dang, they got it easy. You know what I mean? So I was like, hold on, man. I need to like switch the game up a little bit. So with that being said, man, I started grooming and tailored. And the business itself is where we perform all of your grooming services in a package for all your groomsmen on their wedding day. It's one of the most important days of your life. So when we come out, we'll give you all those services, and then we have a couple add-on services to that as well. So whether you cigars, music, catering, a beverage service, and all those things and stuff like that. And then we got something special for all the guys that's getting married, man. You know that the divorce rate in America is pretty high, so we got something putting together that we're gonna piece together for all the guys that's getting married. So once their marriage is finished, we're gonna still be with them to help them stay married and re-engage with their wives as they continue that journey to their unionship.
Hey man, that's a fantastic idea because as you were talking about it, I was thinking about it. I didn't have a fancy wedding, if you will. And if I'm going to talk about myself here, I was married and divorced as well, right?
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to do it again, but if I'm being real, I think that the stress of planning something like that is something that can be a bit of a stressor on the guy. So having something like that for the guys, I think is a market that is definitely one that could be needed. So if I were to do it again, which is a 0% chance of happening, I will be sure to reach out to your business, brother.
Absolutely, man. We always taking referrals, man. But that's the key to that, man. I think it's one of the most important days of your life, man. And I had that bit of a stress going on, a little bit of anxieties. There's multiple things going on. You know what I mean? So let us come through, ease your day for you, give you a relax, and soothing, just tranquility and all that stuff, peace of mind as you're going into this big day, big decision for the rest of your life, man.
All right, groomed and tailored.biz, sponsor of the show. All right. There's a comment that said, never say never, kid. You know what? You're right, man. You're right. Because I have a funny story that I'm going to talk about making a declaration that came back to bite me in the ass. So, Mike, me and you have a couple of things in common. We're both males, we're both veterans, and we're both fathers. So, tell the people out there about you, your son, and a little bit about your childhood experience with your pops if he was around.
Sure. You guys know me. I'm Michael Allison. My son is Omar Allison. He's a 14-year-old now. And about my dad a little bit. So I was born in Jamaica and raised in Miami. I grew up in a household where like the dad was always like the working dad, so it was always that mindset like the dad go out, make all the money for the family and things like that. So I grew up with that mentality of seeing that where hard work, hard work, hard work. And then more so like your mom is in the household and she takes care of like the cooking, the cleaning, make sure the kids are in school, that sort of thing like that. So that was what I saw majority of my life growing up with my dad. So in regards to like, the hug yous and the I love yous and all those things, you know what I mean? That's probably just something that was probably a tradition from his dad and generations passed on. So, when it came to my situation, I was like, I'm going to break that. You know what I mean? So I made sure that I was going to be a part of my son's life in regards to being there for him day in, day out, take him to school, pick him up, tell him I love you, support him, all these things and stuff like that. So, that's how I would say that, my relationship with my dad was to how I try to like break that cycle in regards to my relationship with my son now. So I never get to miss any of those opportunities with him.
Okay. Cool, cool, man. All right. So, were there any other siblings or just you?
Yeah, so I have a younger brother. His name is Harain, and then I have two older sisters. One of my sisters is adopted. That's Sandrice and Charmaine.
All right,
So I'm the middle child.
Chandrish, Charmaine, Michael, and Harain. Did I
Rain.
say that right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, man. Hey, I'm from Alabama. I thought I was gonna mess that all up. All right, so from Jamaica, grew up in Miami. Coming out of high school, did you always know that you were going to serve in the U.S. Marines, or did that just kind of happen?
Actually, no, man. No one, no one in my family served in the military, so I didn't have like any of those family members to say, "Hey, join the military," or "This is what the experience is like," or any of those things. So ninth grade, I was an artist, so I did a lot of painting, a lot of drawing, and things like that. So I thought I was going to be some art painter or something like that. And then I got into football. And then in Miami, if you know, football is like one of the biggest things in South Florida, man. So I got into football and I played my freshman, my sophomore, my junior, and my senior year, and I got pretty good. So I played offensive line, defensive line, and I'm thinking I'm getting ready to go off to college, receive letters from Wisconsin, Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's what, and some like letters from like UCF and USF. That's when they were just coming up. They weren't as big as they are now. And
Nice.
then junior year, I tore my ACL. So, senior year, tore my MCL. Man, so with all that being said, all that stuff got taken away. So next thing I knew, my sister she graduated and she went off to Florida International University, and she had a daughter at the time. So with that being said, there was stress on my family financially and things like that. So I was like, if I try to go off to college, it's going to be a strain on my family, and I don't know if we could afford that and all that stuff. So I started looking at other alternatives and other options and things like that. So I was working. I was working at Papa John's as a part-time job after school, and then I went by the Marine Corps recruiting station, and I started speaking with the recruiter, and talk about all these things and like the GI Bill and all these things. So I was interested in it, and then when I looked into like all of the other branches, I just felt like Marine Corps was going to fit my personality and things like that. Lo and behold, I signed up, joined, enrolled in the Marine Corps. Not really sure what I was really getting into.
Nobody does, man. Nobody does.
But you know what, man? The experience turned out to be good. There's no regrets in regards to that. I've met a ton of great guys, served with a bunch of brilliant men, lots of leaders, and yeah, it was a good opportunity.
All right. Now, both of our kids are the exact same age. Did you have your son while you were still active duty, and were you married to his mother?
So I got out in 2007, and I was married to his mother then. And then I got out, and we both relocated to Columbia, South Carolina. And she was pregnant around the same time, and I worked on the railroad for a little bit. And then after I worked on the railroad, he was born like 6, 7 months after I worked on the railroad. I got laid off, and then me and her kind of didn't see eye to eye in quite a few different things and stuff like that. So as things progressed and we kept moving along, and we kept trying to like struggle with employment and understanding one another. Eventually, after like about 2 or 3 years, when I got promoted a couple times on the railroad, we eventually filed for divorce when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
There was a question about your time in service that I'd like to come back to. Michael Carasquillo asks in the chat, as a veteran, how did 9/11 affect you? Affect you?
Wow. So 9/11, I was in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and I was on the Marine Corps base at Camp Lejeune at Courthouse Bay. And I think we was getting ready that morning to go PT, and we PT'd, and then we came back, and then next thing I knew, like the base got shut down, everything got crazy, everyone was getting flak jackets, and like everybody started turning on the TVs and things like that. And then I was like, wow, what in the world's going on? I'm thinking at this time I was 20 years old. So, this was a shock for me. Like, when I joined the military, I mean, obviously I knew that, like you could go to war, but like never like really like know that you was going to go to war. So with that being said, that was the talk of what's going on, and we was getting attacked and things like that. So obviously the commander of the base gave us tons of briefings and things like that. Shut down. We couldn't fly anywhere, couldn't go anywhere, all that. So that mentally changed my mindset of how the military was, how the military is. This is pretty real. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, stuff just hit the fan. Lo and behold, we started ramping up, doing a whole bunch of training. And then after I got sent, I left Camp Lejeune. I went to Japan. And after I left Japan, I went to Camp Pendleton, California, where I hooked up with Third Tracks. And when I hooked up with Third Tracks, then we actually went into Fallujah for the for that invasion. And then that's when things got kind of crazy for me as well. Like the first day we got there, getting mortared, getting shot at. Our first day on the FOB, and I was like, wow, this is the real deal. So what I'm saying, I just learned that affected me. Like, appreciate what you got, don't take things for granted, and never get like complacent.
Wow, man. Hey, absolutely, man. Those lessons right there, some of the things that you experience can definitely shape and kind of change the way that you grow up. I mean, because you and I, like, you're a little bit older than I am, which I just found out, by the way. Shout out to you for looking as handsome as you do as a I don't know, as a 40-something-year-old guy. Shout out to you, man. Absolutely. We've
Appreciate
got
it, man.
Julian Fitton in the chat that put up I think that's the smiling face sign or the P. I might need for him to interpret that. I'm not hip to all of the lingo here. Can you talk a little bit more? You mentioned the stresses that led to your divorce. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Was it financial stress? Was it job stress? Was it distance? Can you get a little bit more into that if you don't mind sharing?
Absolutely. So I've been married twice and divorced twice. So
Oh man. Hey, hold on, hold on.
so I don't know if I took the cake for that on with some of your other guests and stuff, man. But I think when I got married, my example of like what marriage was as a dad, was like the man has to work, go out, like, make all the money and things like that, make the decisions and things like that. So that's how I operated, you know what I mean? And then honestly, when I got out the Marine Corps, I didn't have a transition of anything like that. You know what I mean? I didn't have any examples of what dads were and things like that. Outside of like my example was with my dad was like I told you, like he was always working and things like that. So like home for every single meal and all those things. My dad was doing 2 or 3 jobs at a time. You know what I mean? So that's what was going on for my example. And then Marine Corps, I was around guys that's the same age as me, and we're just partying. So, with that being said, when I got married the first time, I got out and I got a job on the railroad, and she moved up there to South Carolina with me, and it was hard for her to get a job. And then at the same time, she was pregnant with Omar, and then I was working on the railroad and I got laid off. So then
Damn.
like things got stressful, and I moved back to South Florida, and then obviously we were thinking of like I had money, some money put away and things like that when I got out the service. But I mean, if you're not working or nothing like that, benefits obviously that's still coming in, but that can only take you so far. You know what I mean? When you got bills and all these other things that's accumulating. So that that financial piece became a little bit stressful, and just one person being employed became a little bit stressful. And then after that, you know what I said? The good thing is that the Marine Corps did teach some work ethic and stuff like that in me and some discipline. So my employer said, "Hey man, I saw you was a good employee and you was busting your butt here in South Carolina. I got a management position for you in Atlanta. So would you be interested in that position?" So I took that after my son was born, and I went to Atlanta and I started doing the training there. And then I did all that stuff, got promoted, and then made enough money, saved up. I was living in like a two-bedroom apartment, but I was sleeping like on an air mattress with a roommate that was going to I think it was Emory University. I'm sorry, it's called Mercer University was where he was going down in Macon, and I was sleeping on an air mattress, watching TV or like videos on one of those big, those compact like computers, the old school computers. So I had one of those, just watching TV or watching videos and stuff like that, just trying to save up my money and do my thing there. And eventually we did, and I was able to get us an apartment. And when I did that, I decided to move her up and move my son up so we all could live together. I hired a nanny to like help take care of Omar while he was a baby, so she could go to school and do her thing. And after we did that for a little bit, man, we just started like arguing a lot, fussing a lot, and all these other things. And what I realized is that we knew each other, we met each other, but we didn't really get to know each other and stuff. We never established a friendship that had like a solid foundation between us. We didn't know how to communicate with each other, know these other things, and we just had lots of rifts in our relationship. And then a lot of times, whenever those things occurred, she just departed and just head back to Miami. You know what I mean? And that just became more frustrating on me because the job I had on the railroad was an on the call job. So I could work all day, and if a train derailed, somebody committed suicide or whatever it may be at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, I had to get up and go.
Mm.
So say those, I'm taking the toll of that, and then she's dealing with me either not there or leaving, all these other things and stuff like that. So those became a bunch of stressors, and then as things progressed for me, I never mentioned anything about my military service. So like when you get out the service, at that particular time, you couldn't talk about like PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, and all these things and stuff like that. So, dude, I suppressed all those things. I never talked about it, never brought them up. None of those things I even like discussed with
Mm.
anyone. So I
Yeah.
just kept on and functioning and just doing my thing, man. And long story short, after quite a few different fusses and fights and things like that, lots of moving back and forth, I just eventually filed for divorce, man. It just became too stressful and a lot of toll taken on me mentally, man.
Okay. Was Omar planned or did it just happen?
Um, that's tough.
Now, the reason why I asked that question is I didn't really understand the importance of family planning until I became a little bit older. Before I asked my ex-wife to marry me, one of the things that was important for me is I didn't really want to have kids until I turned 30. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted one or more than one, but I knew I didn't want a lot. All right. And my reason for that was in my 20s, I wanted to enjoy and live life and then really family plan to kind of go into that. I didn't get my way obviously because I got married at 20 and was a father at 22, 23. So I wouldn't call Castle an oopsie per se, but she also really wasn't planned, at least according to my plan anyway. I think
I
she
got
was somebody else's plan instead of mine. So that's why I asked that question because I think that it's important to at least have a conversation about family planning because when talking with other guys, I don't think I've ever had a conversation yet with people that them and their significant other really sat down and was like, this is our family plan. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And obviously life happens, right? So I was just curious. I think that there's some nuggets there for the people listening or some of the young bucks out there in the game that, people like having sex, man, because it feels good, but sex has I ain't gonna say consequences, but there are things that happen because of that.
Yeah, man. So, I'm not gonna say we didn't plan to have kids or anything like that. I think like when most people, I don't know, for me, when we start dating or people start falling in love and all these other things and stuff like that, um, we kind of like throw out the idea about having kids or whatever it may be and stuff. So I think we kind of did that a little bit. At that particular time, we tossed it around in regards to like when and where. I would not say that we said let's have a child right now. And either I wouldn't say that we did that. Um, in hindsight, I think that it is good to at least plan that. Like looking at things now, like I think you should have like all your affairs in order if you're gonna choose to have kids, man. Like like finances are a big piece of having kids. You know what I mean? School zones and all these things are a big factor in kids. Houses or apartments are a big factor in kids. Your family involvement in regards to who's gonna take care of the kids and all these other things and stuff like that. Actually, just having those understanding, like what are your beliefs, and see if they even align. This
Values,
might be
bro.
not be the person
Yes.
that you align with for kids. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So those are some factors that I think that should have been important or discussed when we were having kids, and we never did any of those things. But I think looking back at it, that's something that we should have considered or thought about.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, there's pros and cons to it because I'm pretty happy that at 37, my one child is 14. And, I'm doing the best that I can as a single father myself to provide her guidance, which, by the way, I had some challenges today, which is going to lead me into my next question for you. But I'm going to talk about challenges as a single father. So today, I thought I had my day buttoned up, right? I was going to get off work, go make myself some dinner, prep for this show because I'm the writer, producer, all of that jazz, and go into the live stream. And my kid called me, and she had a show choir performance earlier this week. Well, we're living in a time of a public pandemic. Uh, Lo and behold, somebody on her show choir and one of the teachers tested positive. So she called and expressed concern about wanting to take a test as well, even though she wasn't really kind of feeling any symptoms. So I'm like, all right. So I went and got her a home test today from CVS. Her mother was asleep, so I drove over to her place. She lives, not too far from me. And I administered the test and it came out negative, but in the part of all of that I'm trying to bring up here is that you could have your day planned as a father, but then, those needs, man, of your kids will come up and you have to plan things out to try to prioritize things to make things happen. So my question to you as a single father, all right, what challenges have you had to come across, being a single father?
So for me, there's quite a few challenges that I had to face, man, as a single dad. I can speak about the day-to-day stuff. Like I actually embrace it now. So I look forward to all of the things that has occurred with me and my son and all the experiences I've had. So like, I guess it's like routine now. So like the picking up and dropping off and doctor's appointments and all those things, I'm just used to it. I schedule those things and the blessing in that is that now that I'm an entrepreneur, I could kind of like tailor my schedule around that. So it's not so much of an issue in a sense. I just adjust and go play by play in regards to doing those things, and then factor in like his mom might say, "Hey, I can't get him tonight." Okay, no problem with me. He can stay with me. Not a big deal. Hey, Dad, I need to stay late for football practice or something like that. No worries, not a big deal. I don't need to ask anybody anything or whatever. I could just pick him up and all that stuff and just keep it moving. Um, but prior to things getting to where they are at now, as you probably know, like when we first met, me and Omar's mom was going through a custody battle at that particular time. So he was living in Miami and I was living in Washington D.C. So that that took place in a courtroom. You know what I mean? And we had to go through the legal system and all these things and stuff like that. And knowing the type of dad that I am, I'm never going to give up on my son. I'm always going to be in his life no matter what it is. So you guys saw me when I was there. I was flying back every single month just to make sure I was there to be in my son's like, hey man, Southwest love me. So you know what, man? I flew back every month, and every month I flew back, I was either staying in a hotel, I was getting rental cars, but I was going to make sure that was the best weekend of his life. You know what I mean? Until we work through that issue and try to not let that interfere with the relationship with me and my son. He's gonna know he has a dad. He's gonna know he has a dad that loves him. He's gonna know he has a dad that supports him. So I made sure I did that, man, for like 3 years. We did that for like 3 years, flying back and forth, hotels and all these other things and stuff like that, man, just to make sure I was there in his life. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges I had initially when all that's kind of like took place. After that, that's when like the custody was broken down to like 80-20%. And then after I relocated again from DC, I moved to Tampa, and then it was a little bit easier, like the same scenario. And then until I moved back to Miami, and I said, hey, I'm going to take this to court again. And then I eventually got it split to 50-50 to where it's at now. Me and her, obviously, our relationship is amicable. We sort of get along, and there's not any like big rifts or anything like that. Most things we can handle and deal with as adults. And obviously that comes with lots of growth and maturity between the both of us. That started when we were like 27, 20 years old. So that's like 14 years ago, all those things took place. So in regards to like challenges, that's probably was one of the biggest challenges I had or hurdles I had to take care of in my life, which I'm glad we passed that now. He's 14 and he's doing well. She's doing well in their life. So that's it, man.
Hey, you've talked about growth, and I'm glad that you did, man. This is a natural part to come in here because I kind of teased this on my social media that I had a story to share about being petty and karma coming back to bite me in the ass. So a couple of weeks ago, my daughter had show choir practice, and they have really late practices sometimes. And I take clients or do things with my business that I just started on Mondays. So I said, hey, look, if you ever need me to pick her up or drop her off or anything, I can literally do Tuesday through Sunday. Not a problem. I cannot do Monday. That's the one day that I just can't do because I get clients on that date, right? So I am with a client and it's like 9 o'clock and my phone just starts blowing up and it's my daughter. So I'm like, okay, like this is kind of unprofessional, but at the same time, like this is my kid. So I told my client, I was like, hey, my daughter's been calling me 4 or 5 times straight. This might be an emergency. I have to end this session. I will refund you your money. It's like, all right, refund, great, cool, right? So I eventually called her. She said, hey, I've been trying to call mom to come and pick me up. She's not picking up. Can you come and get me? So I'm like, sure, absolutely. I drive to go and pick her up. And when I dropped her off at her mom's house, I was extremely petty about the whole situation, being that, hey, I'm glad that someone is keeping our kids safe, yada, yada. Right. And then I leave. So she calls me to try and apologize and things like that, but I wasn't hearing it. Okay, I just wasn't hearing it. But part of that reason too is uh she kind of got on to me about contacting her late. Now there's more to go into that, but I don't call her out the blue for anything unless it just has something to do with our daughter. I'm not going to say that I don't consider her a friend. We're very amicable, very amicable. All right, but she's not just somebody that I call to talk to about things. But
Right.
she told me one time, like, don't call her after 9 unless it's important. So I've been sticking to that. I don't text, I don't call. My house could be burning down. Like, unless it has something to do with Castle, I'm not contacting her after 9. So the following day, we kind of talked about it or whatever. Fast forward to this past week. She had asked me if I could pick up Castle after practice one time. She asked me well in advance. I'm like, absolutely sure, not a problem. About 45 minutes prior, I go downstairs to the couch. I'm looking at something in my phone. I took some medicine. I'm knocked out. 2 hours later, I wake up to my daughter crying in my face. So I'm startled by this whole thing because I'm like, wait, why is my daughter in front of my face right now? And what is she crying about? And then it hit me. Oh, crap. I was supposed to come and pick her up. Her mom is asleep. I'm asleep. Her teacher eventually drove her to her mom's, but my daughter's concerned because people that know me, like, it was already communicated prior that I was going to come and pick her up. So it wasn't like this was a surprise and that nobody knew. Everybody knew what the plan was, but she was concerned that something had happened to me. Because if I
Mhm.
say that I'm going to come and pick her up and do something with her, like, I stick to that no matter what. I could miss out on $100,000 because I told my daughter I'm going to be there at this time to pick you up, right? So karma coming back full circle. Cassie was concerned because of Castle's, so she wanted to come by to make sure that I was okay, which is what she did because she was concerned that something happened. So when she like saw me, I guess kind of like laying out on the couch, she thought the worst had happened to her father, right? So obviously at that point, I'm seeing her concern and it's breaking my heart to hear my daughter be concerned about her father. You know what I'm saying? And then I bring up, Cassie, and I apologize to everybody. Okay. But this is karma coming back to bite me in the ass for giving Cassie crap about not going to pick up Castle and having to be like not inconvenienced, but it was against the plan, right? So I'm sitting here like, golly, like I cannot believe that I allowed that to happen. And I'm thinking about a couple of different things. A, my pettiness came back to bite me in the ass. And B, because of the type of person that I am and other things, I'm like, I don't want this to be used against me in the future. So I hope that we're even, ex-wife of mine, in what happened and that we don't bring this up again. So I am trying to grow as well to not be petty about certain things, especially when it comes to the parenting of our child. And it sounds like you and your ex-wife are still, growing and, getting there, and that y'all have, the best, wishes and things for Omar in mind when having to communicate different things.
Yeah, man. I think through the years, we've worked towards being the best parents for him and give him the best. You know what I mean? We had to learn to put our differences aside and make sure we try to put him in the best schools, give him the best opportunities, and all those things, man. At the end of the day, like some of those things that we argued about and fussed about is not even as important, man. You know what I mean?
Right?
So when we mature a little bit and look at things, and it's not even worth it, man. I remember we used to go back and forth instead of like picking up the phone and call. We used to like do things through like emails, or we wouldn't even pick up the phone calls, or like when stipulations were there in regards to like phone calls and things like that. Because obviously back then kids didn't have cell phones, you know what I mean? So like if you call to speak to your kid, it's up to her to pick up the phone and not pick up the phone. You know what I mean? So you know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of those things that went on there took place, or who's with your child and all these other things, like if you don't want your child around another man or another person or blah blah blah, you know what I'm saying? Those things could be done in spite, to like just to tee you off and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So a lot of that stuff took place between us, but I'm just thank God that, man, we passed that stuff and that stuff doesn't even like matter anymore. And we actually like take each other's like opportunities with our child. Like we don't even take that stuff for granted, man. So we make sure like I either get to be with him or she's with him, or give each other like I think kind of like you wouldn't call like right of first refusal and all those things. So
Nice, good deal. Now, there's parts that you have to deal with in regards to the courts and whatnot, and things that you have if you go the courts route is visitations, how you make legal decisions, and then let's talk about it. Finances, child support. Did you
right.
have to pay it, and what are your thoughts on it in general?
It's funny, man. So check this out. Like when we first decided to go our own separate ways, I before we even did any paperwork or anything, I just said, "Hey, I give you $500 a month, you know, for child support." And what stuck with me when we filed for divorce, like she said something like really, really, really like cruel to me, man. She said, "I'm gonna take every single thing out of your pocket to like till I'm gonna be like dead broke." You know what I mean? And that stuck with me. I was like, okay. So, anyways, we went to court, and the judge ruled that child support was only going to be $425.
Yeah, there's a misconception, right? This is not like advice or anything like that, but like I've learned a lot more about the family court system. People think that laws are slanted towards one way or the other, when in actuality, in most states, because a lot of stuff depends on the states, they're actually pretty fair and equitable, depending on time and the income that both of the parents make. All right, people just naturally assume that, oh, like the mom gets everything. No, it's time. For the most part, it's time. Like, who's paying for like the things like healthcare and childcare expenses and things like that. Like that's a factor. But most states actually have an equation that they use, and like the judge can approve it, or if they feel like something needs to be modified or whatnot, they'll bring it up. But I don't know what state y'all filed in, but in Maryland they have pretty regular guidelines. And if somebody thinks that they're gonna go into it and, man, I'm gonna hit his pockets hard, I'm a the vengeance and the wrath, they got a surprise coming for them. So when that happened with her, just be honest, how'd that make you feel initially?
I said, like, I said a lot of things. I said one of the things, like, you know what, God don't like ugly, man. Is what I said. Like, because my approach was like straight, genuine, straight, honest. I wasn't trying to like, trying to try anything. I was like, hey, I could only afford to give you $500 a month based off at that time of my life. That's what I could afford. You know what I mean? And at that time, you are right. So I was carrying like the medical insurances and all these things. I was doing all the transportation, all that stuff, because he was living in another state. So I was the one that was traveling back and forth to go see my son every single month. So like there was no really like anything like for her to do, but more so it was more so like his daycare and his feeding and all these other things and stuff like that. But anyways, we went to court and it came out to be like $425. And then after that, like I told you, I kept like pursuing getting more custody as I got closer back to Miami. And when we got closer back to Miami, you are right. So they do factor in like who makes the most amount of money and all these other things, who's going to carry all the medical bills and all, or insurance and all that stuff. And it got down to like where it was like I only like paid like I think like $80 or $90 in like child support and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, but honestly, that stuff never really mattered to me, man. I never really like too much like cared about that stuff. Like I just knew that like my son is always going to be with me. He's always going to see me, and dad is always going to be there. So child support was never a factor or a thought in my mind like, oh, this is too much, this is too little. Like I really didn't care about that stuff.
Yeah, and see, I think me and you are alike in that, genuinely, with the way that our values are, we're honest guys. Like, I'm not out here trying to, snake or anything like that. I'm fortunate enough that when me and my ex got divorced, we did our divorce ourselves. No lawyers, no mediators, just us. And I was also trying not to rock the
Wow.
boat either, right? Because I mean,
Wow.
like, that stuff can be expensive. So if you have somebody, hey, you know what? Yeah, that's what the
Wow.
sound. Yeah, it saved a lot of money. It saved a lot of stress, bro. I mean, I know that I'm lucky when it came to that. But for me, like as far as like the whole child support thing, for me, like I'll say I wanted it more of a CYA so that I wanted the hey, let's see what the state says, that we have to do. So let's go through the whole calculator thing and look to see if you agree with this. If you feel feelings. Now I don't do it. I'm a logical guy. I don't deal with feelings too much. But it's like if you feel that this is too low for what you were thinking or whatnot, or too, whatever, then then we could talk about mods and different things like that. But when the calculator came back and we looked at the paperwork, I looked at it and said, "Yep." She looked at it and said, "Yep." And the surprise as well too. That's public record. You can go and look up my divorce and see exactly how much I pay in child support. I'm gonna throw that tidbit out there if people didn't know that. So the only time that that's private is if you're like a celebrity or something, or there were some special case factors that goes into your divorce. Then it's not public. But I learned that you could go and look up what somebody pays in child support by the state and whatever their divorce case is. That's interesting.
Wow, I didn't really know that.
Yeah. um. So let me ask you this. All right, dating and relationships. How did being a single dad affect you when you got back into the dating marketplace?
Wow. Let's see. Let's see. So after I got divorced, the first time, you know, I uh I dated a little bit, and it was interesting, man. It was like a new territory sort of thing. And then, it was interesting as in like I've only had dealings with my kid. You know what I mean? So now when I started dating other women, I started noticing like, all right, well, this woman has like two kids or three kids, or their dad's in their life or their dad's not in their lives, and those things and stuff like that. And so I obviously you got your situation with your kid, but now you're taking on the responsibility of someone else's kid and all these other things that plays into that as well. So now, like I mentioned to you before, you got your factors, your beliefs, and all these other things and stuff like that. So you're bringing along her factors, all these things that she's dealing with, and if the dad is in their life and all these other things and stuff like that. So that was interesting, man. So I learned a little bit in regards to like people I dated and see if like it would even be a fit. You know what I mean? So I did that for a while, and then lo and behold, I think that's when I met Courtney, and then you know Courtney, we just hooked up this past weekend, where you guys saw her. So you know what I mean? So I met her son, and that relationship turned out to be pretty good between me and her. So that's me and her had the relationship where like we kind of saw eye to eye on a couple of things when it came to like dating and our kids and stuff like that, where we decided to like hook up and like see what this relationship could turn out to be. Because what I'm saying, getting into like a blended family situation is interesting. There's lots of dynamics that take place within that, and you guys got to make sure that thing is right, solid, and concrete, and a good foundation that's in between that.
Man, yep. Now, when y'all got together, her kid was a little bit older than your kid. Were there any rules or boundaries that were set early on, or did y'all kind of learn that as you went?
I met her son at around 9 years old. To be honest, man, I didn't have any, like I don't know if like parenting like comes with like a handbook, like this is how you parent.
No, sir. No, it doesn't.
You
Nope.
know what I mean? So like we had some growing pains, to be transparent with you and honest, man. We had some growing pains, some things that could have been a little bit better. And I think we kind of like progressively worked through that because there were some trying issues in regards to like once we got together, that dynamic of a blended family, man. So it was interesting.
Now that your kid's older,
Hmm.
what are some things that you see that you observe in society that makes you scared as a father of a teenage boy?
Wow, that really hit home for me, man. That's part of what reason why I made sure that I'm in my son's life, man, and be a leader, be a role model, and be there for him. You know, if he needs me for any single thing, I'm always going to be there for him, no matter what. Um, when I see like either how African American men, some African American men are treated in America, or young boys are treated, that stuff affects me. You know what I mean? When I when I see how things are when it comes to like jobs and all these other things in this world, I got to make sure he's doing the right thing, getting the right education, all these other things to make sure that those he's doing what he's supposed to do, building that infrastructure to make sure those things are in place for him as he's growing up in the society, to make sure that he's set whenever he goes off into this world. I try my best to keep him out of, obviously, like you can see what the prison rates are for who's in jail and all these other things. You can see high school dropouts and all these other things. You can see what bullying does in America. You can see what social media do to kids and stuff like that. You can see what technology do to kids and things like that. You know what I mean? So when all these other factors are around and stuff like that, I think being a dad, you have to be that sounding board for them. You got to be that authority or that leader in their life that say, hey, this is that. Make sure you just put like some foundational things in their life, like put God first. Be kind, be respectful. You know what I'm saying? Know how to treat a lady in this world. Um, Learn how to express yourself and all these other things. You know what I mean? So I just think lots of key important factors that you got to like instill in your son or in your kids and stuff like that in these days, because there's tons of things out there that could distract them and take them away from you.
Okay. Mike, earlier you had talked about the things that you had to do and that affected you regarding your mentals. When did you seek resources? Was there a catalyst or something that happened? And what resources did you use?
So the first time something struck a chord for me, man, when I was working on the railroad, towards like my last year on the railroad, I was a supervisor and I got called out for a derailment. I want to say it was around like 11 p.m. that night. And when I showed up there for the derailment, the reason why the train derailed was a suicide. Somebody jumped in front of the train and killed himself. So I showed up there, and obviously the person is cut in half, and I'm seeing blood, body, what I'm saying, all that stuff. Police is there, and I have to see all that, and then I have to put together a report. The next morning, we do reports of reporting what's going on, and we have to submit that. News is out there and all that stuff. So I saw that. I can't unsee what I saw. So
Yeah,
then,
that is definitely a traumatic event, man.
so then, I want to say I give it like a month. Right after that, right in Stockbridge, Georgia, kind of like the same thing happened, but this person was on drugs, and they committed suicide and jumped in front of the train and killed himself. So after that, that stuff started messing with me, and then I was like, hold on, something's wrong, man. And then my experience when I served was when we was in Fallujah, we had guys got blown up, got hit by VBID. We lost our doc, we lost Salto, we lost Melowat, we lost a whole bunch of guys that got blown up and got shot at and all these other things on September 13th, 2004. You know what I mean? So that's what I saw. I cannot unsee those things. I was there with the other guys, putting guys in body bags and all these other things. So that's where my mind went, and that just started messing with me. Anyways, when I was saying that, I guess I was at that time I was in a relationship, and I didn't know how to like deal with that, talk to anyone, or tell my loved ones any of those things. You know what I mean? So I just bottled those things in, internalized those things, and never shared it with anybody. And then all of a sudden, I guess those things just started pouring out. I started not getting any sleep. I started getting more agitated. I started falling asleep at the wheel at like stoplights. Just a whole bunch of like weird things started happening to me, man. So then I decided to go get help. And the first time I went to like a VA hospital, they do all these questions and all these other stuff, whatever. And I was not really feeling it. And then it started affecting my relationship with Courtney at the time, who was dating, and I was like, oh, this is really bothering me, and this is really affecting me, and I see that it's hurting my family. So that's when we started getting some counseling. We started getting some counseling, and we found a counselor, and her name was Dr. Judith, and probably one of the best experiences I had with a counselor up to this particular point. And she helped us out. She helped me learn how to like cope with some of the things that I was dealing with, and how to be a better parent, all these other things in regards to the trauma that I dealt with and coming up. So that was one of the outlets that I had, man, that helped me to just to deal with that, man. That kind of like bring up some memories and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully that helps with the question, man.
Hey, no, no, hey, absolutely. It's my hope, I'm glad that you were able to like talk through that. All right. Cause look, I asked it. I know it's not a easy thing to talk about. I'm thankful that you did share it because hopefully somebody out there that watches this or listen can know that there are things that they can do to get help and resources, and that it's okay to seek that kind of information out. You know what I'm saying? Were
Yeah,
there
man.
any other creative outlets that you have?
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you what helped me out a good bit, man. You know how I told you like I bottle things in, and once I brought that stuff to Courtney, she was like one of my biggest like cheerleaders and supporters and stuff. We didn't so much bring it to the kids because they were young, and I don't know if they understood like that stuff. So she was like one of my biggest cheerleaders and supporters in regards to like me getting help to be better for the family and be better for her. So we started doing the counseling and all these other things. But then I started like being much more open, being to try different things and stuff like that. And then I started coming across like other veterans that were, hey, they were going through the same things I'm going through and dealing with the same things I'm dealing with. Then I found out like, so naturally I'm a risk taker. Okay. So I'll try mostly anything, you know what I mean? Safe, but I try mostly anything. So
Same.
then
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. And I noticed I started having there's other forms of therapy that's out there in this world. So I thought, because when I went to the VA, dude, they loaded me up on like up to about 14 different medications, man. I thought I was getting stupider and stupider and stupider. I couldn't even function, man. But then I saw that there was other things out there in this world, man. So like then I got into like adaptive sports. Then I got into scuba diving. I got into skiing. I got into zip lining. I got into canoeing. I got into like what you call those bicycles that you ride, man?
I
It's
don't know
slipping
the
my
name.
mind. Yeah, man. I just started riding bicycles, man. I started getting into poetry. I started getting into art. I uh I think we went out and started learning how to dance. Like we started doing like salsa dancing, all
Hey,
these other
okay,
things. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So you know what I mean. So like all these other things out there just create another outlet for me, man. And lo and behold, I just started like expressing myself a little more. Started releasing a lot of things that was inside of me, and just like bringing that level of anxiety down, bringing that level of pressure down, that stress and all that stuff. And I would say that doing all those things and having a good support system around you, man, and then just saying just digging back into my faith and all this other stuff, like I just started like getting more back into my faith, into those things, and cut away the distractions, any negative energy around me, negative people around me, all those things, man, and just staying focused, man. And then after that, things just got better for me.
Can you call out any specific nonprofits if you used any that helped along with that?
Wow. So Wounded Warrior Projects was one of the biggest ones that came through and helped out. That was number one for me. The next one was Simplify Fund. They came through and helped out. um, After Simplify, Main Adaptive, they helped out a good bit. Who else? Let's see. Let's see. Um, oh my gosh, there's so many, man.
Now,
There's so
now,
many
now,
that
now,
has helped me out.
now, you weren't prepped for that, but my main reason for asking you was just to highlight, hey, people, if you are seeking help, there are plenty of resources out there. He named two that I am familiar with in Wounded Warrior Project and Simplify Fund. But if you talk to another veteran that are aware of these programs, they can put you in contact with some amazing nonprofits that I've seen personally do some great work in helping veterans get through things or get the assistance that they need that that they might not just know is out there, but there are people that care, and there are resources that will indeed help you. You have to seek it and be open to those opportunities.
Absolutely.
Um, oh man,
Oh
how
yeah,
would you?
Samaritan Purse. Somebody just dropped that in the chat. Samaritan Purse was a really good one that helped us with our relationship and helped me back with like refocusing around my faith and stuff like that. Heroes to Heroes was big. Operations Home Front. They gave me a house. You know what I mean? Just to drop that stress and not worry about any finances or anything like that. It gave me a free house.
Hey man, you just were able to spout out several right then and there, man. After you had some help in the chat, shout out to Courtney Allison with the assist. Michael, I have to ask you, man. You and Omar are very close. I haven't seen him since he was yay big. I've seen him in pictures and stuff on social media with football and things like that. Here's a deep question for you, brother. How would you like to be remembered once you're gone off this earth?
Wow. Um, I think I strive to be the best dad I could for my son. I try to like implement and give him some foundational things that he could carry on for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? So I always instill like put God first and trust in Him. I always tell him to have the confidence and believe in himself. Sometimes these kids could let things like get around them and like distract them. So I've always tell them like trust in yourself and believe in yourself, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be different. You don't have to always follow the crowd. You could lead.
Uh
Always try
oh.
to tell him, let's choose your friends wisely. You know what I mean? You only get one chance at this life. You know what I mean? So I just try to give him like some foundational things as a dad that he could always take with him for the rest of his life. And then when he becomes a dad or a parent, and when he gets into his own adult life, he could take that with him and stuff like that. But hopefully I did a good job, and he sees that his dad is doing it, busting his butt to make sure he has a legacy, and I'm putting things in place for him. So whenever he gets older, he could take those things and just and soar with that.
Okay. Now, so that's a big portion of my chats with dads. All right, it's having that conversation, kind of getting into some things. It's extremely free flowing. So shout out to you for being open, man, and being honest with this conversation because we talked about some things that you don't really see people talk about, man, in public. So it's my hope that having these chats with dads out there that guys know or people know that hey, guys have these conversations. If you're friends with me, I'm gonna talk about some stuff that's affecting me, and that I kind of want to get off my chest. And being a father, all right, being a dad, and in the overall sense, being a good guy matters to me, right? Because I have those type of values that I'm not out here trying to be a POS on this earth and sucking up all the air and not really trying to give back, man. So this is my way of, trying to give back, sharing experiences and talking to other people just to let folks know, look, it's not just you. You know what I'm saying? We and guys do talk about these kind of stuff. So I'm going to end with a couple of rapid fire questions that I'm going to ask. Don't take time to think about these, and then we're going to close out the show.
Okay.
All right. And Courtney, you can't answer none of these or verify if you want. All right. Question number one: do you consider yourself a boring or a fun person?
I think I'm fun.
Okay. This is a two-part question. Do you drink adult beverages?
Yes.
What is your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Wine.
Hmm. I'm going to ask you this, and I hope I don't get you in trouble. What is the first thing that you notice when it comes to the opposite gender?
Oh my God. Face. Her face. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you think is your best feature?
Um, my lips.
Okay. Now, think about this, and this is really hard to some people. Courtney said, be careful. What do you think to date is the best compliment that you've ever received?
um, best compliment I've ever received was I'm always like a giving person and humility.
Okay.
So I think that's what people would say about me a lot. I'm willing to help anybody. You know what I mean? If you ask me for most things, maybe it's the downfall of me as well. But you know what I mean? I'm always generous, willing to give and help out. If you ask me for anything in regards to resources or help or go here, go there, I'm always going to be willing to help someone out. Um, if you just ask.
Okay. All right. Mike, man, thanks for doing this. We're going to close out the show by having you tell me about your businesses as the sponsor, my first sponsor, FYI, of my chats with dads. Tell us about your businesses and then follow that up with how people can get a hold of you or follow you if they want to.
Cool. So I have three businesses. So the first business I'll talk about is Freedom Lifestyle Group. That business I established that more so just to provide educational resources and avenues for people out there where they could just go straight to that website. Some things are for purchase and some things will be for free. So on the website right now, if you want to go on there and purchase anything, it'll be for credit repair. I think I didn't learn much about credit when I was younger, and now that I have the opportunity, I think credit is important for personally, and I think credit is important for your business and learn how to structure those things. So that's one thing that you'll find on the website now. Coming down the road, we're going to provide things for like your trust, your insurance, death benefits, and I'm also going to have something on there for veterans. Just for the question that you just asked me, I put something on the website for veterans in regards to
Nice.
all the free resources of all the things out there that you could get, whether it's for recreational things, getting laptops, getting iPads, getting recumbent bikes. That's what I meant to mention
Recumbent
earlier.
bikes. Yeah, there we go.
That's what I was trying to say. So all those things will be on the website where veterans can just go there and seek those information for free. The other company that I have is a franchise that I purchased. It's called Line Painting of Boca Raton. It's a painting company that does commercial, residential, internal, interior and exterior painting. We offer 40 different services. And we're located here in Boca Raton, but it's a franchise that I purchased, and that's what we do down here in South Florida. The last business is what I mentioned earlier when we start the show off, and it's called Groomed and Tailored. And Groomed and Tailored is a business that we cater towards weddings for groomsmen, where we offer their services, and then we put a la carte packages and things like that, where you're going to get your haircuts, your beards, your manicures, your pedicures for that particular service when you're getting married. Additionally, we do sell grooming items. So you're gonna find your beard oils, your beard combs, your trims, and things like that. And we're gonna be putting together some suit packages and some shoe packages there on the website. All those will be ready for everyone to start purchasing coming this Monday.
Mr. Entrepreneur. I like it, man. Do you have any social medias that you want to put out there for people to follow you if they're interested in checking you out?
Sure. So on all social media platform, you can find me at Mr. Michael Allison. So that's on Instagram. If you'll find me, Michael Allison, on Twitter, LinkedIn, and what's the other one? Facebook? Yeah.
Man, you even got a TikTok, brother. Are you active on it though?
Yeah, so I'm not active on it yet. So we just created the account this past week. So all those things will be much more active starting next week as we start like doing a whole bunch of our releases for the business. So you'll see us more active. You'll see the Instagram much more live, and we'll be getting it going from there.
Hey, people, don't slip on TikTok because let me tell you, the amount of reach that it has when you're a business minded person is a big deal. Something that we didn't talk about. Michael is educated in the form of the fact that he has gone through, he's gotten his undergrad. He also has his MBA as well. So, that deserves a round of applause. Your boy, by the way, registered for his last class to complete my MBA as well. So, barring any unforeseen instances, I will be an MBA grad and I finished my last class March of 2022. So, hold on.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, man. I was actually going through my classes, going through things, and then the divorce happened. Bro, I could have been done 2 years ago. I've been sitting on one class for 2 years. And I'm finally in a place where I've got the time, attention, and resources to be able to get it done. Because, hey, look, I'll tell you right now, in order to finish grad school, you have to have above a 3.0. Your boy is flirting with a 3.15 right now. So I have to get a B or higher in this class to have the GPA. And look, no excuses, but I'll tell you this, if you're going through things and life kind of hits you, you have to make the determination on what's worth it to complete or finish or not. And for me, I tried to straddle the fence of completing my master's and dealing with just the stress of life, and some things won out and some things didn't. But I'm almost there. The plan is almost fulfilled. And my daughter is going to have, while she doesn't have two parents that are in the same household, she will have two parents that both have their master's degree. So I
That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
thank you. Thank you. All right. Hey, Mike, hang tight. I am going to close out my show, but don't go anywhere. All right.
Cool.
All right. So that was Mr. Entrepreneur himself, Michael Allison. Shout out to him for doing this. Me and him talked about this for a while now. He was coaching and being a part of his son's football team and getting his businesses and stuff set up, but he still wanted to do this. Okay. So I appreciate him taking the time, an hour and some change out of his night to come onto my live stream and chop it up with your boy. Okay? You can find me across 4 different social media platforms displayed on the screen here. If you want to come on Chats with Dads, there's a link in the description below to sign up. It's very easy. I'll take anybody. What's the requirement? Be a dad. All right? I have somebody that did sign up that I'm going to come on next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, and me and him are going to chop it up as we do. A big thank you to the people that caught this live and asked questions as well. I appreciate that. It helps this thing be fun as we go through talking on the live stream as well. Shout out to those that are going to catch the replay as well. All right. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button for your boy. Help me out on the algorithms. That's the algorithm. All right. And I appreciate you guys coming and watching the stream. And until next time, everybody. Peace. That's the wrong sign out. Let's do this one.